allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Good evening to everyone at home. Almost fell on the chair. Well, I was just showing Justin, and I won't bring it up here at the meeting, but I emailed this book to you, a million pages. But if you get a chance, read page 3, the top paragraph. Page 3, or here, while you wrote it, you can read it. And I have the minutes of the August the 10th meeting. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. It's a threat. You want to read that?
What?
Well, I got it opened up here. There. Read that paragraph. I sent that whole thing to you by email. Communications. I have a letter from the building inspector, Bruce Twillinger. Please accept this letter as formal notification that I am resigning my position as town code enforcement officer, building inspector. At the end of the day, on September the 4th, I am glad to provide any assistance during this transition. Thank you for the opportunities for professional and personal development that you have provided me for the last 4 years. Signed, Bruce Twillinger. That is totally unfortunate. I won't go into the reasons he gave me unless you have some reasons that you
No,
want
I'll
to.
just say a few comments. I'll make the motion to accept the resignation.
Do I have a second? With regret. On the motion, comments.
Okay. So, I've been in this building a long time. I can remember back when Ellsworth Conley was the assessor and he worked for Marine Midland Bank. Before grievance day, there were people that would go down there and call for him to be fired from the bank for having a thankless job in this building. In this building, the assessor and the building inspector have the most thankless jobs that you can have. He has a lot of laws to enforce that are probably every bit as technical as vehicle and traffic and whatnot. He was very accommodating to me. He treated me as his superior, not in a pompous way or anything. And I had a lot of input from the community citing that sometimes he was perhaps too forceful and whatnot, and offered the following comment to that. We changed the master plan about 10 years ago. I was a part of that. There's a lot of people that had milk and honey ideas that were wonderful and whatnot, and the laws that are on the books are laws that came from people that wanted those changes. People cut trees at Corbin Hill, so we made a tree law and whatnot. And Bruce was merely enforcing those laws. So for me, I regret to see him go. I think he did a lot of good for the community with cleanup of properties and whatnot. And most of the time, he'll get mad at me for saying this, he reminded me of Lieutenant Columbo back in the 70s. At the end of the episode, the criminal normally just gave up and said, I did it, to attrition. Because Bruce was very thorough, and I just want to thank him for being good to me while I was here with him.
And the thanks come from me also. I didn't see Bruce, or I didn't talk to Bruce as much as you did, but I saw him every day. And it's sad that he's leaving. He's done the best job as building inspector that I've seen in my 16, 18 years. I don't remember how long I've been here. Rich, anything?
I'd just also like to echo thank you to Bruce for his service, and, when you're doing your job, some people are going to find fault with it, but if nobody finds fault, you're not doing the job.
I have a motion and a second. We'll hold off 1 minute for Councilman Payne.
Hi.
I just read the letter of resignation from Bruce, and we're in the middle of accepting it unless you have something to say.
Definitely, no. That's
Okay.
all, thanks.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried, thank you. Kelly has already requested from the county the Building Inspector 3 list. The position is full-time, 40 hours a week, and the salary is $62,000. So we'll be getting that list shortly, unless we decide somehow we may not need that list. I have a letter from the Association of Towns setting our dues at $1,200 a year. I'll pass that on to Kelly. I have a letter from Aaron. We were approved to extend the summer feeding program through September. So at least for the next 5 weeks, we will continue to pump food out to the community residents in need. At last count, we were just short of distributing 20,000 pounds of food, all at no cost to the taxpayer.
Very good.
That's a great job by Aaron, great job.
So what's the date, September?
It'll be through September, through. Yeah, that's all he put was through. Okay, Kelly received a check from DASNY, Department, what DASNY?
It's the dormitory of the state of New York, dormitory authority of the state of New York.
State of New York, which is the authority that handles grants, and we received a check for $238,386. Breakdown is $46,150 for the sewer dechlorination plant and $192,236 for the sanitation department vehicle and tipper equipment. The $46,000 was only part of what they gave us for the sewer dechlorination. It was a total of $125,000.
I was gonna ask that, so that's part of the 125?
Yes.
Okay.
This is a grant. This didn't cost the taxpayer anything. So that nice, brand-new, shiny, yellow sanitation vehicle, that didn't come out of taxpayers' pockets, which is a feather in Pat's cap. From Kelly, as you know, the ambulance department has canvassed the EMT list from the county to hire an additional EMTs for the pool. The list had only 3 people on it. Of the 3, only one is interested. Her name is Jasmine Garth, and Jeff interviewed her. He's asking that the board approve hiring her tonight so that she can start covering shifts immediately. She will be hired at the salary rate of $16.46 per hour for 29 hours a week maximum, and maximum probation. Since she's being hired off the county list, she is pre-approved by the county. Would anyone like to make a motion that we hire Jasmine Garth?
Yes, I'd like to make the motion and state that we're extremely short on EMTs, ambulance corps. Talked to Jeff about this, so we need this hire.
There's no doubt about it, yes.
Yeah.
Do I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so carried. We paid out $54,652 to cover the check run dated August the 13th. The big items were McCarthy Carpentry, $3,600 for town hall work, new glass storefront, $6,600 for the vestibule construction. Our accountant, RBT, $9,000 for the final work on the 2019 audit. Ryder, Wiener and Frankel, $9,604 for legal services, and TAM Enterprises, $2,295 for sewer and sludge removal. Reports from department heads. Councilman Parry.
Well, I just, again, would like to thank all the municipal employees and the village and the town for continuing to keep the services moving. It's difficult for them, and my hope is that someday we wake up and it won't be Groundhog Day over again. But again, thank you to all of them. That's all.
Councilman Sullivan,
Yes, sir.
report.
Good evening. So in my duties as a liaison to the ZBA, last Wednesday they met remotely. As I've mentioned in the past, they've been very successful in doing so. They made a final decision on an interpretation for actions by the building department on a property on top of Hemlock Street, and found those actions to be credible. Did I get that right? Okay. Want to just compliment them. The COVID-19 thing makes it hard. They've been very professional. This particular hearing was very detailed. They did a great job. It was quite a bit of effort. They did a great job. The planning board, to whom I am not the liaison, and Eric and I are sharing emails on their budget because I got the packet. They met last Thursday physically in town hall. Were you here for that, Justin?
Yes, sir.
Was 26 Mine Dock decided, or is?
26 Mine Dock was approved, and 195 Main Street in the village was approved.
Thank you. Okay. I couldn't attend that one. Sewer, I might miss a few things. So, at very low expense a while back, because of all the work going on down there and concerns about who's there when, there's cameras on that building. They have not been hooked up. In the 3 years I've been here, it took me 2 years to figure out whether there was internet or not, based upon testimony that was anecdotal from 15 different people. We got that, thought it was resolved, and there was a bad hookup in June for the installation, so the internet's been out since the storm. Jimmy brought this to my attention. Today Pat had Spectrum down there. I think they resolved everything, and I think the cameras are hooked up. I can't verify that yet. And that'll make it possible for Jimmy to continue to submit the net DMRs so we don't get any more violations. We have that all buttoned up. So we're pretty good in that department. You read off the grants that we got. I was going to mention those. There's a little bit of money left in that budget. Last year we inspected a little bit over a third of the system. I'd like to do another third of the system before the end of this year. There's about $14,000 to do that. And if the board's okay with it, I've already emailed Dawn from Lincoln Tully to tell her she's going to be hearing from me. I'm going to call her and tell her to keep the ball rolling using the shared services contract that TAM is a part of to save a ton of money. So if that's okay with everybody, I'd like to keep that ball rolling. Water district, I don't talk about it much. Pat brought up a leak on a particular property, and there were some questions as to just how far we own the water box and whatnot. Don't know if we're prepared to discuss that. And I heard at the last village board meeting that Bog Meadow is at 71%, which is normal for this time of year. I kayak out there pretty frequently, down about 4 feet. You can see the old dam, nothing to panic about. That's perfectly normal for this time of year. Just thought I'd let you know that. The building department. So we accepted Bruce's resignation. He does give me a monthly report, and here it is for the month of July. There were 21 permit applications received, 19 issued, 5 certificates of occupancy were issued, 36 building permit inspections, no fire safety inspections. He's been unable to do that because of the FOIL requests and whatnot, but he he was catching up on that as time went on. There were 31 advisory violation notices issued. 4 of them have been completed and resolved. 14 municipal searches were completed. 4 more FOIL requests. 71 total physical inspections. I'm not done with his budget yet. It's going to go down. And one good piece of news is there was a significant increase in applications this year from what we projected. So the revenue for that department is actually up, thankfully. And aside from that, thank you, Mary Jane, for putting my picture in the paper for the Citizens Environmental Action Committee. We met last Friday. There's an Eagle Scout whose name is, I think, Antonio Cepeda. Did I say that right?
I forget the last name.
And he's very interested in doing a very nice project between, I'm going to call it Grand Union and Rite Aid, Walgreens and My Town Market. There's no stairs there. I think he's pursuing that. He was getting help from Bruce on it. The village engineer is helping him on it for cooperative surveys and all that stuff. So I think that's a go. And on that committee, Mindy Kimball from West Point and her husband are helping to spearhead that. So I want to thank Olga and them for that effort. Community choice aggregates were discussed, and as we go forward with that, someone's going to have to come here and present this stuff in front of us because A, I don't fully understand it, and B, there's about 10 different scenarios out there, including a microgrid for the West Point area. So that'll be as time goes on and people can come here. And finally, if I have it on here, so everybody did a great job during the storm, including Orange and Rockland. I am accessible. I did get a phone call from somebody up on Forest Hill Road that's not happy with how things are going. So here's what I attempted to do while minding my own business. There's 2 methods of egress up there that I know of that we've talked about. I'm not going to mention them publicly. And I contacted Orange and Rockland because I wanted a physical grid map of how they supply us with energy and an understanding of how they determine where they go first. So they did a great job, but there were some places, I don't know if you get them to go first somewhere else, maybe that's higher politically, but I did follow up on that. For security reasons, Orange and Rockland does not provide that information. They're not going to give it to me. So maybe I'll fly my drone and see what's going on, but whatever, that's my report.
Thank you. Councilman King.
Yes, good evening, and good evening, everyone at home. I'll start with a caveat to my colleague here, Councilman Sullivan, in reference to the tropical storm. You know, one of the things I did is spend a lot of time on the ground, out there looking at where the trees were down and where the telephone poles were down, and even talking to some of the supervisors of the Orange and Rockland personnel that were on the ground. Yeah, in terms of priorities of work, I concur. I don't know who got first priority because obviously this organization was dealing with many different crises, whether it be Rockland, whether it be up here in Orange. But I know that the people on the ground were responsive to the fact that I told them that some of our residents had some potential emergency situations. For example, if a person was on oxygen and then their power is out and then the tree is down and we can't evac them out of there, that's a potential crisis. And so they wanted to know where those people were living at so they can get to them. So I was, very happy about that, and I provide that information. In reference to the police department, I only have one report, and that is that in light of the reforms that's going on in the state of New York as it pertains to police, our department has completed 8-hour block of mandatory procedural justice training. And that is one of the things that we're doing going forward in terms of reform. So I just want the public to know that our police department is definitely training and in line with the governor and the others that are talking about reform. And I think most would agree that they're doing a great job with that. Other than that, we have a report from the Senior Citizens Coordinator, and that is all trips for 2020 have been canceled, And then we would try, if God willing, we will try to resume these trips in 2021. But due to COVID-19, we've postponed all trips up to this point. You've already reported on the recreation director in reference to Dollar Bus. We got a lot of personnel issues there as well. We got one of our primary drivers out for surgery, and some others have resigned and so forth. But that being said, although our service is temporarily suspended, the director is actively looking for others to come on board to drive for us, to include even outside the community. So she's reached out to, for example, Monroe Woodbury. There's a driver that's qualified, certified, and willing to drive for us. So more to follow on that, but I just want the public to know that although we have some issues right now, be patient, please, and we will resume shortly on Dollar Bus. And the last but not least, we have the ambulance corps. You've touched on that, but the primary issue with ambulance corps is personnel and to include volunteers. So if anybody out there interested in volunteering with the ambulance corps, please contact our captain, Mr. Jeff Gathers, and we certainly could use your help. And that's all I have.
Did you find out anything about 911?
Yeah, I talked to Ms. Doris Lynn about the 9/11 ceremony that we have annually here in the town of Highlands. What it appears to be developing currently is that there won't be a public 9/11 ceremony. There will be a ceremony that will be streamed out to the public.
Good.
So rather than a large gathering like we normally would do, they're going to do a ceremony. We're going to tape that ceremony. That ceremony is going to be streamed.
Okay.
And I'm going to assist them with that.
Good. Very good. Thank you. I told Doris that that's what you do.
We talked yesterday.
Okay. Justin, do you have anything?
Just echoing Richie and the Environmental Advisory Committee, Olga did circulate the New York State Unified Solar Permit. I don't know if you've had a chance to review that, but that's a standardized process for small-scale solar, right? Individual homes. It's limited in its capacity, but it streamlines the process and makes that a building department review of the technical records as opposed to needing further planning if it's for a single unit. So it's something to consider.
Good. Just kind of an announcement. I realized that this weekend that the sewer plant really had a bad odor, very bad. I just want the public to know that I'm aware of it, the sewer plant's aware of it, and whatever caused it, we will take care of it. But I'm not saying that if you could buy a sewer plant, there's not going to be any odor, because that is what they do. I'm not exactly sure how I should say this, so Justin, you can cut me off. The discipline matter of a highway department person has been resolved. He's accepted the discipline, and it's been put to bed. It's been taken care of, and there's nothing more to do about it. He accepted the discipline that this town board passed on to him, and he signed off on it, and I have the signed off papers.
That's perfect, unless the board needs something else from you.
Drug and alcohol dial-a-bus policy. That was a very big policy that I sent out by email to everyone. I'm sure everyone read it, and we need to approve it tonight. And since that's your department, would you like to make a motion, Councilman King?
I make the motion that we approve the policy as stated.
I read it. I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. That's the drug and alcohol policy. And it's been updated compared to your last plan. Several changes were required. Okay. I, as town supervisor, declared a storm, the tropical storm emergency, and I have canceled the declaration with the advice of our highway superintendent, who said everything is basically cleaned up from the storm. The COVID-19 emergency declaration, I have continued it. As the governor keeps his declaration, I keep ours. And if FEMA is good to us, we'll get some of our money or all of our money back. Any other business?
I just forgot to mention with the enhanced entryway to June and to Bruce, I thank you both for spearheading that. Works perfectly. I put the code in and came into the building, so thank you.
That was Bruce, so.
Well, both of you, this.
Next week, Monday, our front door will be open, enabling people to walk into the lobby and talk to the town clerk and tell them what they need, tell her what they need. Correct, June?
Yes, sir.
Next week, Monday. So for all of the people that ask me when is the town hall going to be open, it'll be open on Monday, next week.
Are you still recommending that people make appointments with department heads?
June, is that in your
No,
protocol?
not necessarily.
Not
We do
necessarily.
ask that people respect the signs on other people's space, and we're only going to allow one person per office at a time. I'll show it to you tomorrow. I just wrote something up real quick, and nobody's going to be able to wander, so if they want the recreation department, then we're going to buzz recreation, he'll come down, he'll get them, then bring them up, and they're going to sign it and everything. So it's a work in progress, but it's the best I can do for now.
Yeah, if they're looking for recreation and he's not up there, there's no sense in sending them up.
Well, yeah, no, we're going to buzz
So
them
he's got to
first.
know, yeah,
Absolutely. Mhm.
yeah, okay. And besides him and the court, and that's about the only reason anybody would need to go on the second floor.
Correct, unless it's an employee looking.
Employee, yeah, okay. Anything else? Anything else? Since we had no public comment, and I know MJ is here representing her newspaper, MJ, do you have anything?
No, but just as a citizen.
That's what I'm saying.
I will tell you that a couple of things that I've needed at town hall in the last couple of months, I've never not been able to do them very rapidly and with great ease. I mean, your staff is just real good.
Thank you. My staff thanks you too. Anything else?
I would
This is
say-
your chance.
Well, no, the only other thing I would say is, I know that Councilman King has been there, like I know Richie, you're not around during the day, but if you get a chance, I wrote about this in my editorial last week, if you get a chance, go over to middle school on Tuesday or Thursday between 11 and 1, and just look at the setup he has for the food distribution. And I don't mean stand there and stare at people coming to pick up food, but that program has kind of taken on a life of its own. You know, kind of started out just for kids, and there's a lot of people in town who are working but are underemployed. And just to have a place to go and get some fresh produce and, you know, just no questions asked, you don't have to sign in, there's no accountability. It's very helpful, and I'm a little nervous for when it stops. I know the school will pick up for the kids again, but there are a lot of people in this town who, again, I'm not asking you to go and stand there and gawk and see what it is, but it's a little, not that it's surprising, it's just, it's humbling.
He's shown it off pretty good on Facebook, where he's gone up and down. It's amazing the amount of food he puts out there.
It is.
Amazing.
It's good food, it's good quality. Last week he had conditioner and toothpaste, and he's got milk and eggs, and it's a great program, the food bank, the Hudson Valley runs, but it's just great that we've been able to tap into it, because there are definitely people who need it.
And Aaron needs all the credit in the world for that.
He does.
That's-
I told him the other day, I said, they're gonna take away your title as recreation director and make you the town social worker. Because honestly, he's doing deliveries around
Absolutely.
town, and he is calling people to see if they, you know, you need some bread, you need some eggs, you need some milk. It's needed, and it's great to work well with that.
To piggyback off what she's saying, what has happened in that particular program has been extended through September. So we got about another 5 weeks currently that will go on. So I caveat what Mary Jane has said, because I've been out there, that it's an incredible program that's really meeting a need in the community. Whether we know that or not, there are several and multiple people who are not only needing but appreciative of that. So Aaron, hats off to you, and just community, know that you can get out there for the next 5 weeks.
And he mentions 20,000 pounds of food have been given out, but that's 20,000 pounds of food that has to be handled. The tables have to be set up. There's a lot of work to it, but it's.
And there have been some volunteers helping him.
I'm sure.
And again, you know, he doesn't want credit, and nobody wants credit, but it's got a nice flow now, nice flow. It's low key, so nobody feels weird stopping by. It's a good thing.
I don't have anything else. Anybody?
One final thing. I'd like to posthumously thank former town clerk Bev Sullivan, who died in 1987, who on August 24th, 1960 decided to have a third child.
Okay. I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion?
So is today your birthday?
Yes.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Happy birthday to the councilman.
There's people comment, I don't put her on there, but
Happy birthday.
I would have brought a cupcake with a candle if I knew that. Anyway, motion to adjourn?
I make the motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
aye.
Okay.